skiing in Steamboat, Colorado. That is what we are doing for the next 4 days. And this is the 6th and final episode of what to do in northern Colorado during the winter. And while yes, Steamboat is not necessarily in northern Colorado, it's just 3 to 3.5 hours up the Poudre Canyon or through Laramie and back down through Walden. We are here for 4 days. And we actually just went to Snowy Range last weekend. This is after 6 lessons at Infinity Slopes in Southwest Loveland. So we feel like we are excited to take our 6 and 5-year-old, and then Janae is actually skiing this time as well rather than snowboarding. This is activities that you can do in northern Colorado during the winter. My name is Patrick Soukup, and this is the Living in Fort Collins YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Let's have fun. Now on other videos, the other 5 things to do in winter northern Colorado series, we answered the questions on scene, on site, because, well, a lot of it I wanted to get the real-time reactions. But with this video, skiing in northern Colorado or skiing in Colorado, for our winter series, I wanted it to be very detailed because this is an expense. This is an investment, probably my most expensive video shot to date. So I wanted to make sure that I had all of my data, so I'll be making sure to look at it, reference it specifically as I answer these 13 questions. So without any further delay, let's jump right in. Question 1, what is the closest ski hill to Fort Collins, Colorado? And that's gonna be either Snowy Range, just about 90 to 105 minutes away from Fort Collins, to Eldora, roughly about 2.5 hours, depending on road conditions. And then from there, really the main hills are gonna be up I-70 or the Poudre Canyon, which is Copper, Breckenridge, Keystone Vale, up I-70, and then the Poudre Canyon, which gets you to Steamboat. Question number 2, what's the best way to get to the mountains? I will tell you, I grew up going to Steamboat, and I hate driving on I-70 during the winter. There are times when you get outside the Eisenhower Tunnel and it is a winter wonderland with 7 miles of 7% downgrade and you're on ice. I just don't like it. I will also say I've become a lot bigger wuss since I've had kids and making sure that the routes are safe. So we head up the Poudre Canyon, but even the Poudre Canyon, you're going through over 2 passes, Cameron Pass down into Walden and then up Rabbit Ears Pass down into Steamboat. And the Poudre Canyon can have inclement weather and you're going around turns, sharp turns. So you can go an alternative route up to Laramie, down to Walden, skip Cameron Pass. But overall, I like the Poudre Canyon because there's just not as much traffic. Yeah, maybe a little bit dicier road conditions at times, but you're not going 70 miles per hour down an icy road, bumper to bumper traffic on I-70. Are ski lessons worth it? Well, we did a video of indoor ski lessons, and for 2 kids for a half hour is about $80, or for 6 lessons, $500 to $600. That is essentially 1 day for 1 kid at Steamboat, which is $460, including a $10 lift ticket. I will say that the 6 lessons that they did at the indoor ski hill prepared them phenomenally for skiing at Steamboat. The biggest things that we needed to show them experience with, which we went to Snowy Range for 1 day, was to get them exposure to lifts and what it was actually like skiing down snow. But some pros and cons to the ski lessons are, the pro is you're gonna drop your kid off at 8:45, pick them up at 2:45. You're gonna have a full day of skiing. You can get, tons of trails in, quickly move, not have to worry about too much about the kids, and then actually at the end of the day, come pick them up and go skiing from there for the last hour of the day. But it's extremely expensive. And one pro tip is to know what skill level your kid is. If you think they're a level 1 or a level 2, they're gonna be on the magic carpet ride going down these extremely soft slopes. And our kids were there on the first day, and I feel like we just wasted $1,000 on that day, or roughly $900 of ski lessons that day. The second day, on the other hand, they moved them up to a different level. and we felt that they actually got on the hill, got some greens in, even some blues, and really learned a bunch on that. So we were excited to have them with instructors who can show them, because essentially we were doing pizza pie turns, even still after those lessons, but they were able to go down blues and greens with us without any problem. A few spills here and there, but ultimately very safe and secure. The other pro tip is while they're in ski school, you get to go and enjoy yourself, have a beer. I don't drink on the mountains. I really don't understand that, honestly. I'd much rather be completely sober, but maybe one beer would be all right. But that being said, ski lessons, expensive, can be worth it, just knowing to make sure that those levels are understood. Are there any tools or apps that can help? Absolutely. Steamboat had an amazing app that I used all of the time, which it also had cell service across the mountain, which was amazing. It would tell you the lift line weights. It would tell you, it would track where you skied. It would show you what lifts are open when they close. I have not had that app in my lifetime. It's been about a decade since, probably about 7 to 8 years since I've skied last. But this app is new, and it was very nice to have with real-time information being able to upload in real time. What is the cost to rent gear? Well, for one kid, for one day at Outpost Sun Store, it's about $30 for skis, boots, and not necessarily poles. For an adult, it's $40 for skis, boots, and poles. Helmet, I think they do add a little bit extra for that. For 1 week, for 2 kids and 1 adult, 2 helmets, 2 sets of kid skis, 1 set of adult skis was $693. And you do get a benefit of 1 day. But I will say, if you're planning on skiing for more than a week, essentially, at least at Outpost Sunsport, doing the season rental in fall is worth it. You're gonna spend about $200 to $350 per person for the season rental. So long as you're gonna ski more than 5-6 days, it's probably worth getting the rentals. And for kids, I will say, definitely rent skis and boots at least until they're in their teenage years. Because for me, you're growing, your feet are growing, boots can be expensive, skis can be expensive, and unless you're buying kind of at the end of the season, use skis, use boots. My general recommendation would be to rent your skis and boots for kids. And then for adults, if you're gonna start skiing, you might as well demo some skis, buy some skis, buy some boots. You're probably gonna be looking at anywhere between $500 to $1,500 in total, depending on how affordable or used you want to go with those skis and boots. Question number 6 is kind of a parlay on that. Should I buy or rent skis? Essentially, my recommendation is for an adult who's wanting to do it long-term. I've owned my skis and boots for more than 10 years. And so I fortunately get to save money every single time now that I go ski. For my wife, she actually was a snowboarder who transitioned into skiing to try to help educate and show our kids and be a little bit more of a help for me, honestly. For her, she rented this first week while skiing to determine, does she want to ski? And if so, then at that point, we would look to go buy boots and bindings and skis. Just for the long term, we think it's worth the investment. We're going to ski probably at least once a year moving forward. So buying versus renting, if this is just a one-time deal, you don't know if you're ever gonna do it, make sure to go rent. But if you're gonna do it and you enjoy it, buying is probably, for an adult at least, a good investment. For kids, strongly recommend renting really up until their teenage years. Question number 7, what's the best lift ticket option? Now these can get steep. At Steamboat, they could run anywhere between $200 to $300 a day for an adult. At Snowy Range, it was much more affordable at $50. Now we did a 4-day for 4 people, 2 adults, 2 kids, 4-day Icon Pass was $1,756. If we would have done 4 days, 2 adults, 2 kids, at Steamboat, it would have been closer to $2,700. So we saved about $1,000 going through the Icon Pass. And we ordered on December 12th, which is one of the last days that you can order those 4-day passes. Otherwise, early season tickets from Icon or Epic. Now, I do want to tell you what Icon operates to and what Epic does as well. An Icon pass for early pricing is $1,329 per adult or $369 per child ages 5 to 12. This gets you unlimited access to Steamboat, Copper, Eldora, Winter Park, Arapahoe Basin. That's probably the pass that my family would go with if we were doing a season pass. The Epic Pass is $1,051 per adult, but $537 per child ages 5 to 12. They have unlimited access to Vail, Beaver Creek, Breckenridge, Keystone, and Crested Butte. So if you're heading up I-70 or if you've got a place up in that area, that is the pass that you're probably going to want to get. Now, you do get 7 days at Aspen with Icon and 7 days at Telluride with Epic. So some world-class skiing on both of those mountains. And if that's of interest to you, those are the two different options. Now, when I was growing up, my grandparents were actually ski instructors at Steamboat. So we got so many free tickets. They had a condo there. They had kind of access to used and new skis. So skiing for me growing up was actually relatively affordable. And the daily lift tickets were a fraction of what they are now, along with ski school for kids. My grandparents were shocked to hear at the expense of ski school and daily lift tickets. So this is definitely an expensive ordeal, but I will say, a phenomenal adventure for your family and a great opportunity to really just love on each other, enjoy something together, and have the freedom. How much does food cost on the mountain? I would say the best thing you could do is pack your lunch if you're going skiing. You will save hundreds of dollars. Let's see here. For 2 burgers, 2 fries, and 1-piece tea was $74 at Steamboat. Snowy Range was a little bit more affordable, same $74, but we got 3 burgers, chicken fingers, and a salad, and 3 drinks for that $74. So it is a bit more affordable at different locations, but the best thing that you can do is pack your lunch and eat at one of the lodges while there. You are going to save hundreds, especially if it's a week-long trip. What time do the ski hill open and close? Well, you can get early tracks. You do have to pay a premium for that at 8 o'clock in the morning, but most of the rides are gonna open to the public at 9 a.m. and most of the lifts are gonna shut down at 3:15 to 3:30, with most people heading off the hill around 4 o'clock. Question number 10, what skill level do I need? Well, I will say that skiing is absolutely a dangerous ordeal. There are lots of injuries. I mean, I think on when I was there, I saw at least 4 or 5 people with snow patrol, ski patrol, heading down the mountain with kind of their injury Red Cross type of outfits on. And it is definitely something that you can get yourself hurt doing. Janae specifically, she likes snowboarding versus skiing because at least she's on a board where both of her feet are kind of stabilized and your knees aren't too, at risk. I grew up skiing. I feel phenomenal skiing. I feel very confident. I would say at times, maybe I go a little bit too fast, but I feel very much in control. There was a 50-year-old gentleman who ran into NOLA while we were skiing, and I kind of said, what the heck, dude? Watch what you're doing. It is always the uphill person's responsibility for the downhill person's, safety, but you don't know who's on the mountain. You don't know the conditions. And I would say you can absolutely be a beginner, stick to the bunny hills, lots of different slopes. Actually, Steamboat is very family friendly with tons of greens and blues, plenty of black diamonds, of course. Greens are the easiest, blues medium, and black diamonds are the hardest, most difficult, with double blacks on top of that. But overall, it's just all different skill levels. There's ski lessons for all different peoples. There's privates, there's group lessons. But I would say it is of all skills, but the better you get, the more enjoyment you're gonna have. Question number 11, what safety tips are there that you should know? Well, make sure you stay hydrated. You don't want to cramp up. Your feet are going to be in boots all day, really cramped together. And also, make sure to wear a helmet. This was actually the first year that I wore a helmet since I was a kid. And I just was, what? Don't be an idiot, Patrick. Buy a helmet, be safe. And also, if you're tired, that's where injuries can happen. There are signs at the top of the hill that say, take the gondola. Are you tired? Take the gondola down. I would say don't push one more run. Be safe. Don't get injured. That's the ultimate goal, is have fun and don't get injured. So that would be super important. There are harnesses for kids that we didn't necessarily need to use, but for 2, 3, maybe even 4-year-olds, there's harnesses out there. They've got helmets. They've got trackers when the kids are in ski school so you can feel safe, because these mountains are massive. And so you can feel safe that your kid's gonna be, they're gonna know where your kids are gonna be at all times. And then also on the app, there's cell service across the mountains, so you can each have your cell phone, make calls if you guys get lost, point on the direction, hey, meet us at that directional sign right there, and don't get too confident or over aggressive and shoot down a run that you're not supposed to go to. Take your time, enjoy it, and have fun. So the question that everybody wants to know, what does it cost to go to Steamboat for 1 week as a family of 5, but really family of 4, because our youngest did not ski. He probably could have, but we didn't have him ski this time. And that would be a 4-day Icon Pass times 4, $1,756. Ski school, 2 kids, 2 days, $1,815. Gear rentals, $693.68. Steamboat food, if you kind of mixed packing and lodge and groceries, that's gonna be anywhere between $500 to $1,500, depending on how much you're eating in, cooking, groceries versus going out, eating at the lodge, and going out for dinner. And then lodging. Fortunately, we have family that has place up there, so we didn't have any of that expense. So you could find a place for $150 to $200 per night, or there's of course the Steamboat Grand penthouse type deals, high-end hotels, super sexy Airbnbs, and you can spend thousands of dollars. It's gonna be a determination of price, gonna be size, amenity, and location ultimately. And then of course gas, or if you're having to fly in to do the trip, but gas is about half tank up and half tank back. So for me, about $100. So not the biggest expense, but this trip cost our family right around $4,500 for that week, but could cost you, if you had to pay for lodging, $5,500 plus, $6,000 plus. So it is an expensive ordeal. You can offset that some by obviously no ski school if you don't need to. That's $1,800. Buying a season pass and getting out there a ton. Having gear bought versus rented. If you're an avid skier and getting out there, 20, 40 days a year, you could get it down to probably closer to $20-$30 a day versus the $400 to $500 per day that most people are seeing. Question 13, my final thoughts. This was a great trip that I was excited to take my family on. We definitely think that going to the indoor ski lessons was a huge value, and we'll probably do that on an annual basis just to kind of scrape off the rust. Going to Snowy Range prior to going to Steamboat to get access, understanding of the ski lifts, the chairs, and really just, again, dusting off the rust and cleaning off the rust before going to such an expensive place like Steamboat. And then using the tools and apps and exploring the mountain was really an exciting thing to do with my family. We had some great videos and great pictures. I hope that you guys have enjoyed the content. This is the final episode of my 6-part series, things to do in Northern Colorado during winter. This one specifically Colorado and skiing. So again, my name is Patrick Soukup. This is the Living in Fort Collins YouTube channel. If you're considering moving, relocating to the area, give my team and I a call, text, or email. We are licensed real estate agents in the state of Colorado, and we'd love to be an asset on your team. But I hope you've enjoyed the 6-part series. And now, on to the next videos and more series coming up. Have fun. Take care.